The continued quest for justice by Gen Zs has really divided the country right in the middle, especially after Raila Amolo Odinga decided to donate 4 members of the ODM party to lend a hand into Ruto's cabinet in an explanation that William Ruto gave out that he was facing an opposition from his own UDA party. And to this point, there are those people who are saying that Raila Amolo Odinga has always come up when the country is in a crisis to help the situation because he feels the country is bigger than an individual. But there is another school of thought that feels that Raila Amolo Odinga is a sellout, that when we have always cornered a presidency that he feels has robbed him of his victory, he is compromised and he abandons the cause after a lot of casualties when people have been murdered, maimed, injured. And so it's for you to judge. Because if you take someone who has never tasted tear gas on the street, someone who has never gone to the streets, and you place him with someone who has lost a son or a daughter, and you ask them the conduct of Raila Amolo Odinga, they will give you different reactions. But this is politics, depending on which side you're looking at it. Now, Robert Alai is a senior blogger and the member of County Assembly of Kileleshwa, I think. And Robert Alai has been at the center of a tug of war in Azimio. He has always accused the other Azimio members or the Azimio affiliate parties of riding in Raila's court. When Raila went for dialogue, the NADCO and people like Martha Karua, who has now left Azimio, Eugene Wamalwa, who is working very closely with Uhuru Kenyatta, rejected the result of the dialogue report, the NADCO report. Robert Alai told them off. And he told them, if you feel that you're men enough, you can take your people to the streets, because there was this general feeling that people needed to have continued with the demonstrations against William Samoei Ruto. Now, Robert Alai feels that some people are using our Gen Z. And without mincing words, there has been this talk on the streets that some wealthy businessmen, some oligarchs, including politicians from Mount Kenya, are sponsoring Gen Zs for their own personal gain, for self-aggrandizement. Those are allegations that I cannot defend anywhere, including a court of justice. But there is that general feeling. In fact, many people are saying that on the day when Gen Z stormed parliament, that many of them were ferried from Mount Kenya and they were alighting at Githurai and all that. And so word on the street has it that that is why the policemen met them somewhere on Thika Road. I have no evidence. I'm just giving you what is being said outside here, the street politics. And so I treat it as rumor because I don't have evidence. Now, Robert Alai decided to pick a tug of war with Kasmwel Makoure, a face that has always now been identified as almost the de facto leader, together with many others of the Gen Zs. And I want us to go straight to a tweet that Robert Alai did, and I don't know whether Robert Alai was on the offensive side, because this has really elicited a lot of reaction. In fact, if you look at Twitter, Alai is now trending at #1 because of this war that he began. Alai is saying this, that Kasmwel needs guidance or he will die out of his illusions and imaginations. He is living an alternative reality. Someone should save him from himself. Even if Robert Alai is saying the truth, I think he's on the offensive side. Because I want us to read how Kasmwel replied to Alai's, kind of attack. But personally, from where I sit, I think it is very unnecessary. Alai is someone I follow. I do follow his tweets. There isn't any one day that can pass without me looking at Robert Alai. Some of his statements are very factual. He's been fighting cartels in Nairobi, especially in the construction industry, grabbing lands and all that. And it's a man I've really followed for long. But this attack on a young man, I think is very unnecessary. If you ask me, I know he's got his reasons why he's doing this, and I've always supported Alai's sentiments. But on this, from where I sit, maybe we need to know why he did this. But I think he went overboard because he's saying, number one, the allegation that Kasmwel needs guidance or he will die out of his illusions. The word die there is very strong, such a strong word. And when you go to the answer, the reply, you'll realize that Kasmwel has picked that, and he feels that Robert Alai is after his life, and he's saying that Kasmwel is living, is out of illusions and imaginations. I don't know whether he means that the illusions and imagination that William Ruto can leave office. I don't know. But let us go because I want us to discuss this deeply. Now, the Kasmwel answered by saying this: a man with the IQ of a wet sock who looks like cold porridge and an Indian purple frog, and he places a bracket that please don't Google it, and it's laughing, basically telling Alai that what I'm telling you is out, you cannot fathom this, it is out of your IQ, you cannot unless you argue. So he says, a man with the IQ of a wet sock who looks like cold porridge and an Indian purple frog, don't Google it, had a baby, thinks he can certainly threaten my life. I would rather die than live like a lie. So you see, now Kasmwel has also gone into what I may call a very strong attack, because the words he has used to describe a lie are not very palatable. And see, he's on the offensive side, and he's really described him not in a very nice manner. And then he finishes by saying, I would rather die than live like a lie. He's speaking the word death because Allah told him, you will die out of your illusions. So he says, I would rather die than live like Robert Alai. And if you read the comments, many people feel that Alai really went overboard. Kasmwel is a young man who has been identified as the face of Gen Zs. And when Gen Zs went to the street, they had genuine concerns. The trigger was the Finance Bill 2023. And we cannot blame these young people. We were there in 2023 when the Finance Bill 2024 was passed. Raila led people to the streets. People were killed, butchered, maimed, but William Ruto maintained his stand. And up to date, we still feel the effects of Finance Bill 2023. So in the Finance Bill 2024, the Gen Zs led a very strong protest, and William Ruto succumbed and he withdrew Finance Bill 2024. They are fighting for us too. And I know that Robert Alai comes from a school of thought. They could have some information that we don't have, because I have had people ask, Ruto goes, then what? And Robert Alai reads from the same page as Raila Amolo Odinga, as William Ruto, as the ODM fraternity, who feels that there are people who had infiltrated the Azimio protests and they wanted to punish William Samoei Ruto. They wanted William Ruto to go so that they occupy that space, they become president. There's been a lot of street politics. Some even try to connect the succession politics to the death of Ogola. Very nasty things being said here. But since we don't have evidence, I want us to stick to the very noble cause by Gen Zs. Before Raila got into government, sort of, because Raila says he's not in government, so let me use the right word. Before he released the 4 members, the senior most members of the ODM, to join the government. Many people were supporting Gen Zs, and I believe even Robert Alai was supporting Gen Zs. But they got wind of something that maybe we don't have. And now they feel that since Raila has retreated, people like Kasmwel must also retreat, because they have a strong belief that there are people who are there innocently, but others are misusing the process to get to power. If you ask me, Gen Zs had several concerns that were very genuine, and they are able to identify, they are able to know that these are goons that have been sent among us to spoil a very noble process. They are able to see that these are the leaders who want to take advantage and ride on our sweat to get to power. They want to usurp this. I have seen people who want to identify with Gen Z's protests. One of them is Miguna. He's been part and parcel because he realizes that they're speaking the same language. Babu Owino has been speaking the same language with Gen Zs. There are several people. Kalonzo Musyoka is saying these people should soldier on. The sacked CSS, like Moses Kuria was saying, that they are asking, some pertinent questions. And therefore, for Robert Alai to attack Kasmwel, I think he went overboard. I know he might have answers to why he's doing this. But why can't they just come up and tell us that these are the people who are sponsoring the demonstrations? So that Gen Zs can also come up, because if there is something that I've really agonized about is, are there politicians who are pulling the strings behind the curtain? Because if they are politicians, then they are going to dilute this process that was begun by Gen Zs. Because if you tell me today that there is a politician, and mostly they are appointing accused figures to Mount Kenya, some of them, in fact, Robert Alai, people like Robert Alai feel that those wealthy politicians, they're even including Uru's name, that they could be the people who are doing this. If you tell me that there are any politician, whether it's from Nyanza, Coast, Western, Eastern, from Nairobi, from Mount Kenya, that are sponsoring this kind of demonstration against William Ruto, and that their own wish is that they oust William Ruto and they get in and they occupy that position, then it will be very wrong. I would not support it. But from where I sit, I still want to believe that Gen Zs went on the street because of the high cost of living, because of the high cost of education, because of unemployment, because of the impunity and the chest-thumping kind of nature of politicians who are saying utadu, and I believe that is why they went to the streets. And if there are people who want to take advantage for their own self-aggrandizement, then they should kick them out so that this process remains pure. It should be devoid of infiltration, devoid of external forces, because we will not have a situation. I would not want to imagine where we are out of a frying pan into the fire. Was there any better way Alai could have put it? Because you see, Alai is now forcing Kasmwel to read from his page, from his script, which is very wrong. Democratically speaking, Mark Koure has got a democratic right to feel the way he feels, to move in a direction that he wants, not to follow what Robert Alai wants. Robert Alai has got a democratic right to feel that someone is using Gen Zs. But the best way he can do is to distance himself from them and maybe give them advice so that if anything happens to them, he will not be accused that you knew something but you didn't tell them. Look at the age gap. Kasmwel is a younger brother to Robert Alai. And it must not get to a point where they're insulting each other or they're using stronger terms, because we're in a democratic society. I mean, Robert Alai can easily call Kasmwel and tell him, brother, I have got intel that you may not know, that this and this is happening. And I'm not telling you to force you to change your mind, but I'm telling you to know the truth. I'm telling you that there are people who want to use you, so that should anything happen, the younger brother will say, yes, Robert Alai warned me. But when you come to social media, where millions, and because Robert Alai has got millions of followers, wants to read this kind of attack that Kasmwel is living under illusion, he will die, it's not proper. He could have a proper information, but the manner in which he's disseminating this information to me is wrong. Let Gen Zs go forward with their move. They can make mistakes here and there. If we follow our democratic process and the police protect them during demonstrations and they protect those who don't want demonstrations, it's okay. Because people learn by mistakes. People fall and rise up. There is no need attacking each other on social media. We must not follow what Raila wants. There are some people who believe in Raila, but on this course they say, let Gen Zs move forward. There's something that Raila might have seen, but you see, you cannot follow, cajole people to follow you. Raila is a man who believes in democracy, and I believe Robert Alai, being a member of ODM, must also, because ODM is Orange Democratic Party, the democratic part of it, the democracy. I know there's no absolute democracy, but I do not like the idea of trying to force people to see things the way you see it. When I feel it is 9 and you think it is 6, allow me to see it as 9, depending from which angle I sit. If we're sitting opposite each other and I write 6, to you it will be 9, to me it will be 6. And you cannot force me to look at it at an angle that you're looking at it. And I have a problem with Robert Alai. I could be wrong, but attacking this young boy, no. But one thing, Kasmwel must also be very careful when people warn you that there are others who are using this kind of demonstration for their own benefit. Let him sleep with one eye open so that at any one moment he will realize that, oh, such businessmen, such members of parliament are using us. Let me tell you, there has been this talk that whenever there is a revolution, there's a particular tribe that is being killed because they're always at the forefront. And this is what most people fear. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you make out of this, but to me, let Gen Zs move ahead with their course. Let them force William Ruto to do the right thing, because it has been proved that they can force William Ruto to dissolve a cabinet. They can force an inspector general to resign. I mean, there are quite a lot. And so the tree of democracy is a group work. Others will plant it, others will tilt that land, others will prune it, others will water it. But by the end of the day, the people who live to enjoy the fruits are people who might have not even taken any part in it. Like, we can now speak very freely, yet people like Raila Amolo Odinga were detained for it. So we are enjoying the sweats of someone, but that is it. So let Robert talk to his younger brother in a nice way, not going to Twitter, because this is going to take a different direction, which is not good. If we are running for the same course, we can follow different lines as long as the destination is the same. But this has really backfired on Alai.